am going to handle now is, if the average marks of 3 batches of 55, 60 and 40 students is 50, 55 and 60 respectively, the average mark of all the students is A 54.66, 53.33, 55 and none of this. So this is an average problem. This is an average problem. See, average is nothing but the average formula. Average will be equal to sum of all the numbers, sum of all the numbers, sum of all the numbers divided by count of numbers, divided by count of numbers. Sum of all the numbers divided by count of numbers. So sum of all the numbers here is, so what I will do is, I will tell you later. Supposing there are 3 numbers, say 10, 20, 30. So 10 plus 20 plus 30 will come here. 10 plus 20 plus 30 will come here. Count is 10 is 1, 20 is 1, 30 is 1, 3 will come here. So it will be 10 plus 20 plus 30 divided by 3. So that is the average. The sum of all numbers divided by count of all numbers. So here it is given as the students are 55, 60 and 45. Their marks are 50, 55 and 60 respectively. See, the moment I put the word respectively, so I'll have to match 1:1, 2:2, 3:3, 4:4 like that. You cannot match 1:3. So 55 students have an average of 50, 60 students average of 55 and 45 students average of 60. See, some of you might be doing it as, those are no some of you might be doing it as 50 plus 55 plus 60 divided by 3 as 55. You can't do it like this unless the number of students in all the group are the same number. See, if it is 50, 50, 50, then you can do 50 plus 50 plus 60 divided by 3. But here, because the students are in different numbers, you will have to find out the marks of all the students put together. So here average is sum of all the numbers divided by count of numbers. So count is 55 into average will give me the sum. Here count is 55 into the average, which is 50, will give me the sum. So what I have to do is 55 students into 50 will be the marks of all these 55 students, which will be equal to 2750. This will be equal to 2750. Similarly, 60 students have an average of 50. So 60 students into 55 will be equal to 3300. You will have to find out the marks of all the students put together, divided by the number of students will give you the average. Then this will be 45. Students will have an average of 60. So 45 into 60 will be equal to 2700. Now total all this. This will be 8750. The sum of the marks of all the students is 8750. So sum of the marks of all the students will be 8750. Divided by the count of students is, this is 55 students, 60 students, 45 students. The count of students will be 160. Divided by 160 will be the average. Divided by 160 will be the average. So when you work it out, it will be 54.6875. 54.6875. Some students, the moment they say 54, they will not work out beyond this. So what level? They will give the answer as 54.66. But whenever you have got a none of this option, you cannot give the answer as 54.66, because whenever I got none of this option, it has to match with the last 2 decimal points. Had it been 54.6675, then you can give the answer as 54.66. Because you have option none of this, it has to match with the last 2 decimal points. Here the answer is none of this and not 54.66. So the answer here will be none of this. It will be 54.6875, which is not matching with 54.66. So the answer is none of this. Had the none of this option not been there, instead of none of this, had it been say some 57.3 some value, then you will have to choose the closest one or the nearest one, which will be right answer. None of this, whenever none of this is there, be very careful, work it out to the last 2 decimal points and match it. Otherwise, give the answer as none of this. Now, I will give you the shortcuts also for this. This is the way of working it. You should first understand how to do this. This is compulsory. You will have to understand it. And the shortcut here also a little bit complicated. Before implementing it in a real-time exam, practice it before doing it. Practice it before doing it. And the second thing is, if you are not able to get the shortcuts, Go through this video again and again, try to understand it, then practice your own marks, you can probably get the shortcuts. So now what happens is, I'll just give a practical example. Supposing my maths mark is 80, and physics is 75. The average will be 155 divided by 2, which will be 77.5. So what I am doing is, I am taking away 2.5 marks from my stronger subject and passing it on to my weaker subject. I am taking away 2.5 from my stronger subject, passing it on to my weaker subject for the purpose of average. The same thing I can do here. So here what will happen is 50, 55 and 60, when I add this 3, so it will be 165. When I add this 3, it will be 165 divided by 3 will be 55. So what I presume is my average could be somewhere around 55. My average could be somewhere around 55. So what will happen is it will be somewhere around 55. My average will be somewhere around 55. So here what I do is I presume my average is somewhere around. This is a normal group, this is a stronger group, this is a weaker group. So I will do it again. I am not going to mix it here. So it will be 55 into 50, 60 into 55 and 45 into 60. So 55 is the average group, 60 is the stronger group and 50 is the weaker group. So I am going to take away 5 marks from the stronger group. I am going to take away 5 marks from the stronger group and pass it on to the weaker group. I will take away 5 marks from the stronger group and pass it on to the weaker group because I presume my average to be 55. So what I do is I will make this as 55. Now what is happening is I am taking 5 marks from 45 people. Whereas my weaker group is 55, I cannot pass it on to the entire 55. I can pass it only to 45, 5 marks to 45. So what will happen is 10 people will remain with the same 50. 10 people will remain with the same 50 and other 45 will become 60. So other 45 will become 55. So what is happening is in a group of 160, 150 are having an average of 155, 150 are having an average of 55 and only 10 people are short. Because it is short, the shortfall has to be shared by the entire group. Because it is short, the shortfall has to be shared by the entire group. So 10 into 5 will be 50. This 50 has to be shared by the entire group. So 50, the entire group is 160 divided by 160. So what will happen? The 0 will cut. 0.3 will be 48. So 20 will be 2 is 32. Then it is, so 20, it is 1 here, 1, it will be 16. 1 is 16, 16, so this will be 40, 2 will be 32 and 80 will be 5. So it will be 80 here. So what will happen is, because I am short from a presumed average of 55, I will have to reduce this 0.3125 from 55. So 55 minus 0.3125 will be 54.6875. 54.6875. So this is the shortcut for this. But be sure, before doing all this, you should know how to do like this and practice your shortcuts. If you are not able to follow it one viewing, view it again and again, understand it fully, practice it before you put it in your real-time practice. Subscribe to my channel. I will be adding questions every now and then. Wish you all the best.